Today is Sharpening Day. It's a day to slow down, reset, and reflect. 12 months ago, I almost lived in my workshop. Woodworking and filming YouTube videos is how I preferred to spend my time, and I was content. 9 months ago, I became a dad for the first time, and the birth of my little girl made me the happiest I've ever been. 6 months ago, I suffered a mental breakdown. My world fell apart, and I was diagnosed with postnatal depression and anxiety. 3 months ago, after getting some professional help, as part of my recovery, I reached out to a group of maker friends, and together we started filming a video documenting my experiences as a new dad living with PND. Last month, after weeks of editing and building up the courage to share such a personal story on the internet, I released a video into the community with a simple message to those who might be going through similar experiences to me. You are not alone. Then yesterday, a box arrived. That carries a lot more than just new tools, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's first head back to the week that followed hitting the publish button on my PND video. That was one of the most emotional and affirming times of my life. Story after story from viewers, both publicly in the comments and privately in my inboxes, flowed in, over, and around me. Some were tragic, others lifted me up. And the best came from both friends and complete strangers, saying that by me sharing my experience, I had helped them to decide perhaps it was time for them to reach out and get some help of their own. Honestly, this is why I published the video, and I was so proud and overwhelmed to get such a response from people that the video had touched them in such a way. I could not have been prouder of that video, and I cannot thank enough my friends who lent me their voices when I couldn't find the words, as well as my wife, family, and workplace for carrying me through some of the toughest months of my 40-odd years. If you missed that tale, spoiler alert, it ended sounding like I had it all sorted out, and that everything was on the way up, right? I'd faced my demons, got some help, and even managed to turn my struggles into a positive experience that has now helped many others. Well, yes and no. You see, the truth is, I don't think it is an accident that the first thing I find myself doing in the workshop in nearly 4 months since finishing the yoga mat hook video is sharpening. Don't get me wrong, for the most part, I'm doing well. I've given up the building management to reduce my stress here at Canberra. I found some time for D&D. I've reconnected with friends and family and taken a more positive attitude towards my paid work again. Moments of getting lost in the darkness are now few and far between, and I haven't returned to the days of being a non-functioning human. But then I also haven't turned on a camera or picked up a power tool either. And these things used to bring me joy. So that is why I am sharpening. Like me with my mental health for a few months, my chisels, planes, and other blades have all been neglected. They've been chipped, occasionally dropped, and dulled through overwork. If I were to pick them back up and press them into action with too much pressure needed to get the jobs done, those stresses will cause something to give, and I'd likely be left to pick up the pieces once again. Recovering from a mental health injury, like sharpening, is a foundational process. It forms the basis of what is to come. It takes time, care, and sometimes outside guidance. Get it right, and the jobs ahead will be easier, safer, and more enjoyable. Neglect it or rush it, and the results are unlikely to be the ones that you want. Short-lived and unsatisfying. To stretch a worn metaphor even further, as sharpening is just the beginning, therapy is just the beginning. Once you're finished, you feel great. You can hang those blades up on the shelf and know they are primed and ready to go, good as new. But that edge has been honed to be used. It serves no purpose if you go through it all and then don't put what you've learned into practice. Then, when you do get back to work and things return to normal, it's inevitable that small faults and wear will start to accumulate again. The trick is, every time you reach a pause point, stop, review, and reassess. Recovery is an ongoing process. Some days you just need a quick strop to get you back in action. Others you'll hit a hidden nail, get a crack, and need to head back to the stones. It never really ends. So today is sharpening day. Time to reset and rekindle my love of being in the workshop, knowing that looking after my mental health, like looking after your tools, is a story of constant maintenance. That's not a downer. Maintenance can be peaceful, relaxing, and even enjoyable. It might be an investment in time, but it makes everything in front of that just go that much better. It also doesn't hurt to receive some great news from time to time, and an unexpected boost of support. Let's talk about the box. You see, coming up in November is the 4th annual Aussie Makeup Meetup. This year, it is back in Sydney, hosted by my mate Vic from Down Under Woodworks. I'll link to his video with all the details below. Last year in Melbourne, just before my daughter was born, I still don't know how my wife let me get away with that, I had a cracking time on the weekend away down in the southern state. I met a bunch of people I call good friends, many of whom I had never been in the same room as well as getting to visit a number of, as seen on YouTube, workshops. I have been looking forward to its return, especially being in my hometown this year. It's one of those important things they tell you to focus on during P&D recovery. Plan things to look forward to that help define your identity outside of just being a parent. I can't think of many things better to remind myself of who I am outside of my family than getting together with a bunch of like-minded makers and sharing an evening talking shop, tools, YouTube, and all things wood. And the best part is, this event is open to everyone. It's not a YouTuber club love-in, though you may get to meet a few of your favourite Aussie creators. Anyone who likes to make things from other things is invited to come along and say hi. While we do like to keep things simple at the meetups, Vic did ask me to reach out to Carbatec, one of Australia's big woodworking stores, and see if they'd like to chuck in a cheeky little voucher as a lucky door prize to give away on the night. A token of goodwill towards the community kind of gesture. And that's where this box comes in. Vic asked me because I've worked with Carbatec since before I had 1,000 subscribers, I think, nearly 5 years ago. We've always had a great relationship, particularly through the Craig brand, which they supply here in Australia, and I personally love as their tools tend to fall into line with my small workshop hobbyist mentality. I've been proud to be a brand ambassador for them for a number of years now. Even so, I was blown away by the generous reply to my humble request for a gift card that Carbatec sent out. Firstly, there is a gift card, $200 worth, as a prize to one lucky random attendee. But that didn't explain the giant box that landed on my doorstep yesterday. In it were 4 more prizes that I didn't ask for. A Craig 720 Pro with clamp and screw kit, a set of cryogenic steel Carbatec lathe chisels, whatever they do, I'm not a lathe guy, and 2 Craig merch kits. Overall, there's more than $1,000 worth of goodness for me to give away at our little community event. I was blown away. But what really hit home was not the financial value of support, though it is amazing. It was the email that accompanied it. I'll paraphrase, but in short, the team at Carbatec had seen my last video on P&D and had been sharing it around, not under their corporate branding to drive engagement, but to their friends, family, and colleagues who might have needed to see it. They also reaffirmed their support for me personally, no matter how long it takes me to get back into the swing of things, and this meant a lot. It was a vote of confidence and understanding I don't think you'd get from many sponsors. I really do love the woodworking community we've built here in Oz, both makers and the suppliers. To be clear, Carbatec didn't ask for this shout out, but I think they deserve it, so thank you guys for everything. I look forward to working with them soon on some cool builds I have planned when Barber and I can find the time. My priorities are still and will be elsewhere for the foreseeable future, and that's okay. For now, I look forward to seeing as many folks as can make it to the Aussie Makeup Meetup in Sydney this November, and keeping my blade sharp, my mind clear, and my workshop a happy one. Let's make some sawdust.